Today I have with me Lisa Moorish. She is a famous singer-songwriter. She's worked with Oasis and Blur, but she has also done her own musical work. Divine Chaos is her most recent album. But she's also known for being the mum of Molly Moorish-Gallagher, Liam's daughter, and Astile Doherty, Pete's son. So, you are, to me, the epitome of a rock chick, and I know you hate that and you're going to tell me off, aren't you?
Just wanna get out of here.
I'm not going to tell you off. I mean, it's just to sort of label. It's that weird thing where you end up being defined by, and obviously with good reason, because the fathers of my children are very well known, especially in the context of, kind of... what's the word, not commercially, internationally, in the country, in the international press and whatever. So, yeah, that kind of, obviously, a lot of the public know me more in that kind of context. But
Yeah.
I love that there's so many other layers to my life, and I've known it in other sort of maybe lesser known and lesser kind of, what's the word? God, I'm having a brain fart. Yeah. This is menopause ADHD.
Well, yes, we're going to get onto ADHD because I think I'm undiagnosed. If we were to go to completely sideways, you've just been diagnosed with ADHD,
Yes,
and
a year and a
you
half ago.
believe that that's had a huge effect on your relationships and on your career and stuff like that. Do you want to explain, well, I think most people know what ADHD, but it's attention deficit disorder.
Yes.
How did it manifest itself in you?
So it's one of those things that I had no idea at all. Let's just say I went throughout my life, and maybe from quite a young age, maybe having this little kind of thought, this unconscious thought of what's wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. Or, I don't understand, not understanding the way my mind works, or that my thought process, my behaviours. If you think in terms of being a girl, a little, and different, I suppose there's a generational thing. I'm 53, so this would be the 70s. And it was always little girls, what was it, puppy dog tales and
yes,
all things nice, sugar and spice.
Everything nice. Puppy dog tails and... I don't know,
well,
but I do remember it, yes.
Yeah, people might know what we're referring to. So that's what is pushed on you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you are somebody who would call it neurodiverse, and you maybe are not a typical, you don't find it as easy to fall into that kind of accepting that role, that can be really troublesome for you. If you say acting like a boys act, for example, which is what I'm saying. I used to sort of run around the hall and jump on the tables, and I was someone who would climb the trees and get stuck in trees or whatever. Yeah. That just kind of, like I said, you would label that being a tomboy, I guess.
Yeah. And
that's just some of it. And then I think another way of describing what I noticed, I think there's a lot of escapism, wanting to escape.
Living in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have... I've forgotten what it is. The combination type of ADHD. I'm trying to remember. Sorry, I'm still learning with it. I've only been diagnosed for a year and a half. But there's so you have the physical sort of thing, maybe where you can't keep still, or
yes.
You need to get up and leave the room, sort of not be stuck. I was just saying to you about working in an office. I've never worked in an office. I tried to once. I think I lasted about 3 hours and said, I have to do this. I'm going to have to do this at home. I mean, that's because I'm a singer and a creative as well in that way. So,
do you think that was one of your escape routes? Because you've been singing since you were 16, right?
Yeah. And I think
it's a very free and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at school, so it was in that little fantasy world. I was always often kind of trying to... I mean, I was living in Little Girl. I was always imagining I was in Wizard of Oz or whatever, or, So it was, and growing up where I grew up was in Brixton in the early 70s. It was tough times back then. My dream and fantasy was to escape that.
Yeah.
And of course you're reading and taking in a lot from the media, from television and from films and whatever that you're being exposed to. And you can't remember watching Dallas and Dynasty.
Oh, yeah, the shoulder pads.
So you kind of been pumped this sort of stuff in the 70s and 80s, this sort of fantasy of And remember, Thatcher was like, anyone can, get
Yes,
out
anyone
there,
can
and
get
women.
out.
And
Yeah.
so it was all of that. So I think I was very much kind of, pop stars and sort of 80s, 70s glamour and 80s pop stars. I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to sing, but I really wanted to be an actress. So I was thinking about I chose drama at school, not music.
Okay.
And I was thinking of going to drama college next after secondary school. But what happened was I did a demo and I got offered a record deal instead, which I signed on my 17th birthday. So I got offered money. I was 17.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can get my own flat now. My poor mum. So I moved out of my mum's, so she was horrified, but she couldn't really stop me. I spent my money on rent.
So you made enough money to buy a flat? Wow.
Not to buy. I was renting.
Renting. Okay.
Yeah. So I was set out on them. But my first publishing deal was writing songs, and then I got into the music industry. Mm-hmm. And then, but before that, to be honest, I'd started experimenting. So that was another thing I think attribute to ADHD and autism. I think there's a lot of issues with boundaries that you have. So, for example, I think somebody who, what you would call is neurotypical, somebody who doesn't have autism or ADHD, but some people say normal, which obviously you're not normal if you have any of these conditions. As kids, you're known sometimes as children to struggle with boundaries or getting messages for when you should fear situations. Mm-hmm. So, me as a kid, the thing you're not supposed to do, whether it's maybe older boys going, do you want to come upstairs and smoke this whatever with us or whatever, for an example. It's like, yeah, you kind of have this almost kind of, it's like you can be intellectually kind of intelligent and whatever, but sometimes that emotional or mental intelligence is kind of, there's something with your sort of setup.
You had some very interesting relationships. Obviously, the first one.
Interesting.
With Liam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's the daddy of Molly. And they are now very close, aren't they? Or certainly,
Yeah.
And with her two brothers, her two stepbrothers.
Yeah.
So that's all's well that ends well.
Yeah.
But for a long time, you brought Molly up by yourself.
I did.
And I think right at the bit. Do you want to talk about this, or you don't? You're getting a little bit.
Yeah, you can see me tensing up. Can't you? But the thing is, the reason I do tense up as well, and it might be obvious to some people watching this. There's a lot of heat, should we call it? I get from the tabloid press specifically. And even to this day, regardless of no matter how many legal letters or how many times over the years I've sent legal letters to various papers, to sort of going along with this sort of twisted narrative of my relationship with my daughter's father back then, it's so I do tense up, and also because it's Molly's story as well. So Molly is an adult; she's 27 now, and when I talk about this is her story too.
Yeah.
So that's why I can say,
that.
and she's very private,
That's
my
fine.
daughter, and I am too. But all I will say is, just for people who don't know and who read about my story, which is my story, whether they think, just because Liam's very famous and well known, I'm still a person. It's my story,
My child,
my life. But one thing I will say is the only reason people are even aware of who Molly's father is, and maybe still would have been to this day, I don't know, is because my phones were hacked, and that's how that came out. I've never
phone hacking.
Yeah. So I met Molly's dad in the early 90s. I think I met him in 93, and actually it was Noel that I met first.
Yes, because you're good friends, aren't you? With
Noel's,
Noel?
Yeah, I love Noel. I know Noel's, sort of people are a bit Marmite with Noel, aren't they?
I love him. I hate him. I don't know him, so I'm not going to comment.
Look, in the public domain and as the sort of rock star or whatever, people see what they see and they think what they think, and fair enough. But he's a friend and he's family to me, and he's a very good man. I love him dearly. But so I was friends with Noel, met Liam. Liam was actually dating a friend of mine, just dating. It wasn't anything that serious, and that's how I met those guys. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, I worked with them. And it's really strange because the thing is of like, oh, you kind of met this guy when he was, once when he was married and had his kid. It's like, there's all the timelines there for everyone to see. Yeah. So do you know what I mean? Even these journalists, I'm like, it's there. You've got the photographs, you've got... And so people, I think sometimes people just obviously, as you probably know, you work in this in media, and you know how it works with sometimes once you're kind of a paper or a media write about you in a certain way, it sticks.
Yeah.
And people tend to just keep going with that.
Yeah.
So it's very frustrating because on one hand, I don't give a damn what anybody thinks about me. It's none of their business. I don't care who you are, but it's also frustrating if you're trying to sort of release an album or talk about what you're doing in your creative life. And that's something from 28 years ago. Yeah. And also without the facts. So that's all I will say on Liam. I will be maybe writing not maybe actually, I've written the first chapter of a book.
Excellent.
So people will it we sort of said once and once only, and that will be that.
Okay,
but not about that. It's not just there's a whole tapestry of my life.
I mean, and just to clarify something that I believe to be the truth, and you may say it's not, and can you cut that bit? You get on very well with Patsy, don't you?
I do, yeah. I mean, we don't see each other physically much, but we do get on. Yeah. I mean, it was a long time ago. Yeah. And all I'll say about that is, there were amends to be made both ways. Like I said, I'm not going to go, I know I'm being a bit cryptic, but I am reluctant to go, like I said, it's my daughter. I'm very sensitive to the fact that it's my daughter's father and how she feels about me talking about this subject. But we do get on, and we both had to make amends to each other back then. So that might indicate that take that as you want to take it. But it's definitely not the way it's written every single time my name's mentioned, and I've had to take action again about that. So and talking of dating and being single, I mean, I've had guys who are like, I Googled you. I'm like, please don't Google me, because you're just going to get this, But then again, I'm like, fine, Google me. And if they've got a brain and they go, oh, well, I'm not going to tell, I know what the tabloids are like. That's kind of, terms of people who I meet, that one, they have to understand that.
Yes. Number
two, they have to kind of not just be so focused on who the fathers of my children are in terms of them being the whole world. They're not. I mean, they're great. I've got children with them. I love what they've done. They do, and what they've done with their music. I've worked with both of them. Yeah. But they're not the be all and end all to everybody in the world.
Yeah. And it's still, obviously, his dad is another very famous person, Pete Doherty.
Yeah. People often always said to me, how come you ended, I'm like, well, I don't know. Ask him how come you ended up with me. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, how did you meet?
We met, so the Libertines, the band, again, funnily enough, I became really good friends with Carl, his bandmate.
Okay.
Via, to be specific, so Pearl Lowe, who some people will know, and Danny Goffey, her husband, who's in Supergrass. We were all kind of just in the sort of gig circuit, so to speak, and we went to a gig one night, a little event night called the Cherry Club, I think it was, in Paddington, and we went to see this band, Libertines. I think there were about 20 people there that night. It was very early days, because I think they were signed to Rough Trade, so the label, I was in the music industry, that's how it works. There's a band, you should come here, we're going there. Didn't particularly pay, Libertines, okay. So I liked the band. Then I met Carl. Carl was actually, I had a big crush on Carl. Everybody did. Okay. Carl's gorgeous, but he's like my friend. He's a Steele's godfather. He's like a brother to me. He's like, and he's got a lovely partner as well, Edie. So anyway, but Carl was kind of who caught my eye, and that if there was any to be any whatever, but that quickly just was a friendship. And we hung out a lot, and I'd only meet Pete sort of fleeting moments because he'd be doing his own thing. He was on a bit of a different path, as many people obviously know. He was on a path of destruction, and one of my big problems always was that I was a little Florence Nightingale.
You wanted to save people.
I love to. Yeah, I mean, the sort of rehab for broken boys is now shut. It's closed for good. And that's on me. So I've learnt to do a lot of work. And so instead of looking outwards and going, well, Liam did this, or Pete did this, or this one did that, or ever sort of thinking those terms, I really sort of, in the last 10 years or so, really started to really look at if there are any issues in my sort of dating life or who I'm ending up with, what is it that I'm doing? What is it about me? It has to come, you can only change these things if you look at yourself.
Yeah.
If you keep making choices that are the wrong choices or aren't working out. But the truth was as well, I was a lost soul, and I was kind of caught up in addiction and, like I said, undiagnosed ADHD, possibly autistic. not saying we're all innocent, sort of, oh, we were just little sweet little bunnies who got caught up. We kind of got caught up in, but it's
also
kind
it
of
was
innocent.
a party time, wasn't it? It was a very different era. The parties were phenomenal.
Yeah, they were phenomenal, actually.
They were phenomenal.
Yeah.
And, you just got caught up in a lot of scenes, really. And it was a different world. So now we're older and we are still trying to make it work out. So for you, Lisa, what are you looking for now? And how would you go about that? I mean, would you use a dating app? How does someone like you even go about finding someone new?
Well, I think, obviously, I'm not recognisable publicly. People won't look at my photograph. I'm on an app, by the way. I'm on one dating app. So people won't recognise my face. They will recognise my name, usually. There's occasionally, I have some people come up to me and go, I've got your record. It's always Mr. Friday Night, a 90s song I had, which is still kind of going. It still has life in it today and always being redone and remixed. And sometimes people will recognise me, but it's quite rare.
Okay.
But they know my name. And like you said, unfortunately, I've been defined by the relationships of the famous men that I have children with. If I'd have been as famous as they are at their level, it would have been probably a very different story.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really weird thing to be punished for that. It's a really odd, well, you're not famous and you're only known, that's what I get. And I'm like, well, it's really straight. To me, that's not really how I measure my life as a success, how famous I am or how often I'm in the tabloids every day.
Do you really feel punished? Do you feel your career has been held back because of who the fathers of your children are?
I blame the tabloids for it. I blame you. Yeah.
You blame me. Okay,
no,
right.
Not you.
On my shoulders.
Not you specifically, but as an institution, I do blame. Yeah, I do. And I think people will even say, well, you get this weird thing, like I say about, well, you chose to go out with this person. You chose to have a kid. Yeah, I did. What has that got to do? Well, how does that affect if my song's good or not? Because I don't see anybody sort of boycotting or not buying male singers' records because they've had a kid with this person or they've had a...
We're going to go
took lots of
sideways
drugs.
again.
And I work in, by the way, with an organisation called Press Justice Project, which is a subsidiary of Hacked Off. I'm a trustee on the board.
Off, love that name.
Hacked Off. I think that was Mr. Grant, wasn't it? Mr. Hugh Grant.
Yes,
I
don't know if he did a fan of him, but there we go. No, but obviously because I'm on the other side of the fence.
But we're here talking, and I'm being really frank with you and saying how I feel. Yeah. And I know the attitude on the other side is, well, you made those choices, and it's in the their public names. But like I said, when your phones are hacked and people don't have. And people have been brought to account for that. Some haven't, some have. So not everybody is. I've known a few people. I know a few people that work on the other side now that come from the sort of tabloid industry. But of course, I only have to be accountable to myself. Is all I'm saying. I don't owe accountability to any journalist, any member of the public, or any troll that turns up under my comments. I don't owe that to anybody, because I think what we're talking about, and it does impact my relationship, because I've had to work a lot on the constant voice or constant kind of narrative of me, and tabloid version of me being rammed in my face. And so I've had to do a lot of work to undo what that does have an effect. I have suffered from depression and anxiety, self-loathing, and I already had all those issues as it was. I mean, I was suffering with that as a kid. So to then kind of go out into the world wide-eyed and innocent, to go, okay, and then get into music, snog a few boys. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
it's like
we all did that.
We all did that. But for some reason, some are more of a villain for doing it, I think, and it's a real... It's had a real effect on the way my because actually when you have so low self-worth and self-esteem issues, you don't make the greatest picks in relationships. And the bit of you that you're trying to, you don't realise that it's you that needs fixing and sorting out. So you tend to kind of project that onto some man who's broken and needs kind of, so I'll just, and trying to win their love. Because if that person loves you, then that means you're really worthy. It's a really weird kind of psychology, but that's what it is. And I've been going through that for years. So the dating app thing, let's go back to that. It's not. I've had a few nice dates, and I'm kind of quite open to kind of. I usually sort of say I'm interested in just connecting with sort of a man in terms of just going out, having a coffee or whatever, or having a drink, or I don't drink, obviously not drinking alcohol, but for me personally, but just to kind of sort of practice in terms of sort of what I get nervous about is obviously with the app thing, you've got to watch. It depends what you want. If you want to go in the app and you want to sleep around, then obviously it can be used for that. But I really don't want to use it for that. I'm at that age now, you know. I had some promiscuous years in my 20s. I'm not ashamed of that. That's whatever my experience was. But now I tend to kind of, I don't want some grubby anybody, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm
having access to my, you know. You know what I mean?
I do. I think you're waiting for someone that you actually think this could be it.
Yeah, and you know what? I wish I'd known more and understood myself better in my 20s and teen years than as well as I do now, because I wasn't cut out to be, what was it? The sort of what did we the name for Zoe Ball and Laura?
Ladette.
Ladette.
Yeah,
so I
the
wasn't really
beer-drinking Ladettes.
not saying, by the way, Zoe Ball was but she was one of the figures
yeah.
out there that was kind of championed as a Ladette, and we were all kind of. I was loaded and paraded as all the Ladettes of the 90s. You know, do what the boys do, get out there, girls. And then the minute you do that, you're the whore of Babylon, you know. It's like, you know, it been dragged to a market, been stoned with potatoes. So it was a bit, do you know what I mean? It felt a bit, but what I'm trying to say is actually I wasn't cut out to be, again, I'm not blaming, it's not because, I read that so I just chose to, but it does affect you when you're growing up, what you're kind of fed. And it's a really tough thing I think, but I don't think it served me very well kind of throwing myself into that kind of world in the 90s. I was cut out to meet someone special and really kind of not, be so kind of, I don't know, how do I put it? Yeah, I just didn't have the sort of boundaries that I didn't have the self-esteem that I wished I'd had back then for all sorts of reasons I've sort of gone into.
Okay, so Lisa, now we're going to play a little game. It is the Suddenly Single Honesty Box. Don't leave you hanging. I will answer the questions as well. It's just a few questions to learn some other things about you.
Bracing myself.
If you don't want to answer them, we don't have to. But as you are the guest, we've only got 4 in here. Just take a question. They're not that hard.
You're overthinking it. There's someone overthinking.
Yeah, don't overthink
Get the big
it.
one.
That's why we don't show them to you first.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Okay, off you go.
What's your favourite love song?
Oh, what is it?
So when I was drinking and when I sort of broken-hearted or fallen in love with somebody, I would really always, my big go-to love song is Shaka Khan, Ain't Nobody.
Oh, I love that song.
Who doesn't, right? There's so many others. I mean, there's so many others that I could name, but I'll have to go for the Shaka Khan, Ain't Nobody.
This is my question.
What does it say? Do you need
daytime clubs now, given our age? Would we prefer, you know, like you take the babies to the cinema now if you're a young mum? Would we like to actually have raves in the middle of the day so we can be home by 6 o'clock?
Well, they're having them. They are having them, and I think it's a great idea.
Me too.
And it's not. I mean, it's
me too. I like to go home in the lights.
Yes, and this is the thing. So, and especially if the weather's not great, and we're doing it in winter or whatever, you're getting out in the day, and it's still daylight and whatever, and not the issue of paying 50 quid for a cab to the end of the street.
Well, yes.
You know, that stuff as well. So you can jump on the tube or the train.
Yeah.
I'm up for it. I mean, that might sound a bit boring and granny-ish, but
I don't think it is. How important is the opinion of your gay friends on your new men? Do
you know what? Very. Having said that, one of my 2 really good gay friends are Dan and Jack, who used to be together, but unfortunately not anymore. But they're both happy in where they've ended up. But anyway, they could be sort of a bit like big brothers, Jack especially, so he could be really overprotective. Yeah. So it's a bit, you know, like a father figure almost, you know, no one's good enough for you. Yeah. So it does matter, but sometimes with this one particular friend, and then another friend of mine, Bernie, who passed away a long while ago, he was amazing and he was quite good. It was very important to get there because they could spot the bad, the sort of ones, the naughty ones, or you know what I mean? It's the one he's a wrong one kind of thing, and they can kind of see that thing. Yeah. But interestingly, I do think having really good straight male friends who know other straight men are very important. actually, from what I remember, even with Liam, and he, you know, there was a few people, and mostly it wasn't, you know, we were 23, 24,
You're
kids.
right?
This is what I mean. And he should have been out there kind of just obviously
Partying.
a guy at that
Yeah.
age in a band, sort of
Famous.
figuring out who they are. I
Yeah.
kind of was too.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's all there's a lot of innocence in it. But, you
Yeah.
know, it was, yeah, it's funny. You do get the warnings from, you know, oh, that don't go there because you're going to get your fingers burnt, so to speak. But when you're that young, you kind of almost, well, yeah, okay, that's part of me learning and growing.
I think there's also a female thing which is utterly ridiculous, but no, I'll change him. It'll be
Yeah.
me. It never is. But
Yeah.
I do think women do suffer from that.
Yeah, they do. Slightly.
Yeah,
like with
it's
the
me.
Florence,
It's me.
Yeah,
It'll
the
be
Florence
fine.
Nightingale
The Florence
syndrome.
Nightingale.
And
I can sort
yeah.
him out.
Yeah, I
behaviour.
really, I'm so over that now. I've got to a really great place in this dating thing.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing as well, I will give a tip for women
Okay.
or young
Any
women,
tip?
is that always used to put my eggs in one basket. So I'd fall very quickly. Again, that's how my brain works, dopamine, you know. Anything that you connect, and actually connecting on one thing that you both really connect on, and not like looking at all the things you don't. That
Yes.
is a lot which is a very ADHD trait, and that's why a lot of us end up in relationships. So you've got one thing in common that you just
Hanging on
focus
to that
on.
one thing about him. That
Yeah,
is
oh, we
great.
both like the same music. We don't like the same politics. We don't have the same.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why do we argue all the time? Because we love, you know, and you think that that's this symbol of being in love. This one thing maybe that's sort of, you know, connected you. Instead of putting all my eggs in one basket and being kind of love bombed, I was very much a victim of the classic love bomber as
Yes.
people who come in very quickly and you know, you're amazing and I want to be, you know, in the next, you're not kind of waiting to
let's
see
buy a
if that
house.
person's consistent. Yeah, things like that. So I've really stopped sort of any, you know, and I had a bit of that in the last person I was going out with, and I saw it, and I've got so much more boundary. But what I'm doing in terms of dating is multiple dating. And I don't mean, I'm not talking about sleeping with people, but even if you're on an app or whatever, or if you sometimes I find someone on Instagram or social media or from Facebook and things like that. Not ideal, but it is the world we live in now. So making sure until this sort of you're in a relationship or getting into a relationship with this person, you don't just sort of go, right, okay, I like this guy, I've had one nice date, I'm just going to kind of, you know, speak to him now. It's a fatal mistake. So it's because otherwise, for me it is, because then I end up, personally, I think I end up putting all my energy too quickly into someone that I don't really know yet, and it's getting to know someone. I think it makes a huge difference.
I think you're potentially wise, and I learned that lesson quite badly about 2 years ago. It was extraordinary. I've been on about 11 internet dates, and only 2 did I want to see again. And both of them, I looked at them immediately. I thought, yeah, you're the one. You're the one.
Wow.
Both of them. Yeah. And so the first one was works in the law courts in London, very handsome. And I thought, oh, yes. Anyway, saw him for about 9 months. And we were down. He said, come and stay with my parents. We'd gone away for 2 weeks. And his mother said something when we were having dinner, and it was very obvious that I wasn't the only person who'd been there recently.
This came out by his mum.
9 months in via his mother, right? And I'm thinking, are you joking with me? Because I'm sleeping with him, obviously, by now.
Yeah, of course.
And it's
Usually
9 months,
by that
right?
time, yeah.
And I hello. I was like, I couldn't believe it.
It's a minefield, isn't it?
It was horrifying. So I understand what you're saying. If you're not sleeping with people and you're not sure, then maybe fine. Sure, go out for 5 or 6 dinners with 5 or 6 different guys.
Oh, totally. To meet them and to
But
connect.
I think
and
once
see,
you cross that line, are you joking me? You're
That's
still doing
awful.
that.
That's awful. But it's funny, isn't it, at our age, and what I expected was really, after kind of obviously having kids, where, you know, 2 children where, these rock and roll, whatever you want to call them, sort of, you know, kind of a bit chaotic and whatever, and not kind of the sort of house with the picket fence and the 2, you know, 0.2 kids and dog or whatever. It's not, which I did always want. But anyway, I thought, okay, I've dealt with all. Yeah, I still would like.
I can't
that.
have the kids now, but whatever.
No, but grandkids with, right?
The
With the
grandkids
grandkids coming round. But yeah, I kind of, now I've only just, my last relationship was a complete disaster 3 years ago now. The last big relationship I had, which was a few years, was a complete disaster. And I was so shocked at myself that I'd allowed myself. But it was, I do believe in those lessons, and it was a harsh one. There was a lot of things in that relationship that I put up with and the person I got involved with. And it was a big learning curve, and it really took me down, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But now it's brought me to the place that I'm in now, which I feel I'm in a very, very strong place. I'm not I can live happily on my own. That's another thing. I like being on my own. I like living on my own. I would like a partner. I'd like somebody in my life. It's nothing better than when it does go right. Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing, right? You've got your best pal and your ally and the love and the romance. Yeah. If you get all those things. Not always perfect. I can be a bit of a perfectionist. I think sometimes maybe I have to admit that I'm got this fantasy idea of what it should be. Have to grow up around that a little bit emotionally. But yeah, I think I now know, like you said, after that experience, that was the last lesson for me, and a really harsh one, but I've learned. Yeah. So now I feel like I've got and also the other lesson is when it goes wrong, and if somebody, the last person I was sort of dating for about 3 months or whatever it was, they wanted to be quite serious quite quickly. And I was cautious of that. Like, you're going too fast. You don't know me yet. I don't know you yet. You need to earn each other's trust. And when that red flag, you don't trust me? I've known you for a few months. No, not yet. Yeah. Not fully. Yeah. That's not normal. And I think the minute someone puts a foot wrong and this person sort of, was untrustworthy in some way, that's it. It's done. Whereas before I would, let's work through it. No, that was it. I'm cold as ice now with that. If you cross a line, which I think is a line, and that trust is broken.
Do something wrong, right?
Well, I'm not. It depends what that is. But lying, for example, about something.
Oh, lying is not lying.
Let's call it dishonesty.
Yeah.
For a broader, and there's lights. What I'm saying is things that I would maybe before have overlooked. Yeah. And even that low self-esteem, why would you especially when someone's going, trust me, and then they're dishonest and they're trying to push you into It's
if it's
like,
lying,
I can't, the thing is as well, because I can't afford it with my mental health either, where it takes me and where sort of lies and manipulation have taken me in the past. Okay. So it's that thing of going, I have to put myself first, because I've thrown myself sort of before into these situations with people that I'm putting their fit, whether they've got a drink problem or they've got depression or they've got whatever. So, where people are, it's all about looking after you, and I'm not looking after myself. For what? Why would you put someone else before you? Yeah. You should never do that, I don't think, unless it's your children or even then, we've got to save a bit of ourselves, right? We've got to...
No, I agree. I agree.
That it's like martyrdom. I was a bit of a martyr, I think.
It's funny, isn't it? You do work yourself out as you get older, and you keep working yourself out, I think, to be honest. Yeah. So this is the final question. How well do you get on with your exes? Discuss, Lisa Moorish.
Some of them I get on very well with. Obviously I didn't see Molly's dad for quite a long time, and Molly's an adult now. There's no need. We don't have to do the school parents' evening and things like that. And we've both had different relationships or whatever since then, but we don't not get on. With my son's father, I love Pete in so many ways. As like a friend and someone that was much more in my life and my son's life, so a bit different. But that's fine. There's no issues there. I'd say we get on, but we don't socialise or anything. We've got different lives. My son's an adult too. He's 22, and then other exes. Some, like I say, the ones who. I would say, the last boyfriend I had, serious relationship, he went off with somebody else while he was with me. There was a crossover, and he didn't bother to tell me that after nearly a 3-year relationship. So obviously I'm not really in a hurry to sort of speak with that person, unless they maybe made amends, and I probably would be like, okay, fine. You
Time
kind of forgive and forget. Yeah. But I mostly, some I do and some I don't.
So final question, maybe not Molly, seeing she's going to become a mummy now, but do you think either of your children would like to follow you into the music business? What about Astile?
My son's in a band.
Oh, he's
in a really cool band called Another Day.
Okay.
They're fantastic. They're really good. They're young. My son's 22. I don't know how old the other members are. I think I might be doing a gig with them, actually. They're doing a gig at the 100 Club in November. I'm plugging it because they'll like that.
Yeah.
They're very cool. If you like indie music, indie British rock, indie pop rock.
Okay.
They're really good.
Okay.
And he's doing that. And was in Paddington 3. I was very proud of him. It was like a momager moment here. So he's acting too.
Very much like you then.
Yeah. And his dad too. I mean, his dad's sort of done a bit of acting and he's a bit of both of us, actually. He really is. I see so much of his dad in him and so much of me. And obviously he's him as well. He's just, he's you know, we can't always make it about us, can we, who our kids are.
Oh, well, thank you, Lisa Moorish, for coming in. It's been an utter pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, it's been all right. It's been all right. I was a little bit anxious.
But you didn't need to be. You've been a joy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Life doesn't have to be complicated.